Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's my first ever podcast. What am I doing wrong? I'm looking at myself like this. Question I've had from a lot of our followers: why don't we go French?
We're only a few days away from rioting at any stage. If the food runs out,
we're all just pulling together for the future of our farms.
I think we are very fortunate as an industry to have so much support from the British public. I wasn't sure if I was going to ask this question. Should farmers go on strike? I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is a last minute thing that we've just thought of doing. That's my dog barking in the background. So I'm a podcast virgin, so be gentle with me tonight, okay? And we've got two fantastic guests. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Renner. We've recently set up Farmers Take Action.
So Kathleen, where are you at this moment in time?
Somewhere in Kent. We're on our way back from London. We took the tractor up today to Parliament Square, where we met loads of other farmers.
Still in the tractor?
Still in the tractor, the mighty Kubota.
And my other guest is Ed, who is another very prominent voice within the farming community. So introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Hi, Gareth. My name's Ed Beckett. I'm a farmer from South Shropshire. I'm a predominantly arable farmer. Kathleen and I had never met each other before we joined Farmers to Action, and then lately have reformed as Farmers Take Action. We've both been quite involved in the farm protest movement, and it's been obviously unfortunate circumstances that have brought us all together. But yes, we've met some great people, and like yourself, Gareth, and hopefully we can make a difference.
Kathleen, how did it go today? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there was tractors from the Reliable Farmers, sort of above London. There was Hampshire division of Farmers Take Action. We've come from East Sussex. There was All Farmers were there. Berkshire Farmers were there. It was just, just another excellent day of unity of farmers that, like Ed said, we've really met each other this year. And we're all just pulling together for the greater good, food security and the future of our farms.
Question I've had from a lot of our followers today: why don't we go French? Why don't we take the tyres and the bales, And as somebody that has been a few times into London and you're a part of the whole organisations, what are your thoughts on what's happening in France and Greece? And do you think it's something that would get a better media coverage or better feedback from our government? Or do you think what we're doing as we are now is doing the job?
I mean, probably in my private thoughts of going French seem like a great idea. But I think as an organisation, it's really tough because you don't want to encourage people to do something where they're going to potentially get arrested or have consequences. I think probably my biggest thought on going French is that it really irritates me that the government are not listening, because it's almost like they're goading us to go French. We've been protesting, we've been at lots of protests together over the last year. And the government are just flat out refusing to listen. And it feels like they're almost leaving farmers with no option than to do that, which just seems incredibly unfair. Not ruling anything a bit more fruity out, but I'd like farmers not to have to do that.
Kathleen and I have both done quite a lot with continental farmers. We did a joint action in the 31st of October with some German, Danish, Austrian, and a few French farmers. And, we are in discussions with continental farmers about what's going on there. I think the point that we're trying to make, and certainly the message that we tried to put across in October, was that the government's message is that they think we don't need, as a nation, we don't need to be self-sufficient. We certainly don't need to be majority self-sufficient, because food's available from anywhere else in the world. And I think it's a really important message that we should all be pushing continually, is that is something that we shouldn't take for granted. farmers from all over the world, and particularly continental Europe, are really struggling with various issues. Some of them are similar, like ours, but some of them are different. But they all could impact on food security. And as a nation, as an island nation, we need to be extremely mindful that freely available cheap food may not always be there. We're spoilt effectively as a country at the moment in that respect, I think.
Yeah, and do you both think, going forward, we're seeing massive hikes in food inflation. We're seeing, climate, different problems with extreme weather, which is, devastated crops. It's been hard to get silage. Milk prices are dropping. They're talking about beef prices dropping, taking a tumble in the new year as well. There's massive pressures on our industry. Do you think government are doing enough to protect the people that are feeding them?
No. We went to a local supermarket on Friday evening, and a guy came out and spoke to us. There was loads of positive feedback from the public, and a guy came out and spoke to us, and he said something that I hadn't heard before. And he said, agriculture is a culture, it's not a profession. And he said there's places in the world where farmers are treated like gods because they're producing food. And this country is just so far out of touch with it. People just think that things will be on the shelves regardless. And it's just not the case. Like Ed said, food security is so fragile. And the government the government are just being so blasé about it. It's just completely wrong.
Yeah, totally. There's a huge amount of conversation at the moment about what's going on in Eastern Europe and the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the effects that that's had. And we take our security and our peaceful sort of state that we're in at the moment totally for granted. I think we do that at our peril, effectively, and we're only a few days away from rioting at any stage, aren't we? If the food runs out, the first thing that happens is civil unrest, and it doesn't need to be that. That's the frustrating thing, is that we've got a really good body of people in this country that want to produce good, top quality food at reasonable prices. It's here, it's there, ready. It's low hanging fruit, but unfortunately, the government don't seem to want to support that, and they want to take the far riskier option of relying on food from elsewhere. Which obviously we like having food from elsewhere. I wouldn't advocate not having access to foreign continental foods or foreign foods in general, whatever. But we need to really try and grow what we can here primarily.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, because I read an article, Ed, that just before the Second World War broke out, we had 6 weeks supply of food in this country. We now have 6 days supply of food in this country. So, there's a massive difference. My next question is going to be very controversial. I wasn't sure if I was going to ask this question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it, because I know you two aren't going to be afraid of answering it. Should farmers go on strike?
Go on, Ed, you go first.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge amount of merit in that, actually. I think that I always get asked similar questions to that. I think there's a body of people that are totally convinced that is the answer. That's a solution to being able to influence what we need to get the changes we need to get established. We tried it. we as a wider organisation earlier on in the campaign, there was some activities around supermarkets, and it does have an immediate and drastic impact on the supply and distribution of food. There is no question about that. But unfortunately, the supermarkets and the wider ports and other infrastructure in the country, there are particular powers that can be brought into force to sort of stop that from happening. So we've got an issue there. We also come up quite a bit with people saying that they should just not supply food from the farm gate, which again is a lovely idea, but it's unfairly penalises somebody who produces fresh produce, a dairy farmer, for instance. If they don't supply their milk, they get into trouble with their milk contract. Milk contracts are hard to get at the moment. It's really hard, and it's not really fair on a dairy farmer. When it's easy, I'm an arable farmer predominantly. I don't need to load a grain lorry. I can say I'm not going to load a grain lorry this month. Won't affect really anybody. But a dairy farmer or an egg producer or a salad grower or whatever, they're not in that same position. It's tricky. Yeah. So I think it's something that might have to happen at some point. Yeah, the detail, I'm not sure how we'd actually enact it at the moment.
A lot of people struggling out there, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically. It's like a death of 1,000 cuts. You pass one hurdle, and then there's another hurdle, and then we have 6 months of rain, and then we have 6 months of no rain, and then a supermarket will come and just push down the prices, and then you'll have a government that puts inheritance tax on farms that get a 1% return on their businesses. It's just, it is. It's like they are trying to destroy one of the oldest and only industry that we've got left in the United Kingdom. That's my opinion. The poorer people in society are going to suffer from this. What the Labour government have done is they put food inflation so that the poorer people can't afford good food, so they're eating more processed food, which is going to make them sicker in the long run, which is going to cost more for the NHS. So this is what I've been saying for a long time, build a better Britain on our bellies with good, sustainable, seasonal, local food. Yeah, and I'm with you, Ed. I'm not against them importing and shipping all kinds of food. That's a personal choice. If people want to buy that and eat that, they can do that. But we have to be making sure we're backing British agriculture first, in my opinion. So I'm going to ask that question to Kathleen now. She's had a bit of time to think now. She's going to come back now with a banging answer. I know it.
So this is about the striking.
Yeah.
I think if we have to, we have to. I think at that point it's really important that all farmers pull together, because as Ed said, it's very different for different farmers, depending on what they're producing. It's easy for certain farmers at certain times of the year to say, oh yes, it's time to go on strike, because it probably won't affect them. I suppose the thing that I'd like to see is for the government again to stop pushing us into a corner. They've got farmers here, they want to produce food. We shouldn't be having to do this. We shouldn't be having to protest. We've all got jobs to do at home, and we're taking all this time up standing up for our industry, which we're going to do, but it shouldn't be necessary. We should be appreciated.
No, I totally agree with both of your sentiments there. And you know what? As Keir Starmer sits in his ivory tower in London, being fed by the farmers, well, most probably he'll jump on a plane and go to the Caribbean, and he'll be drinking champagne and eating lobster over Christmas while we're having a bit of turkey. But hey-ho, that's life today. But the truth is, I think we are very fortunate as an industry to have so much support from the British public. I don't think I've ever been in a campaign where I've seen so many different individuals just approach it. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but the support that I've had and the people surrounding our whole protest and a whole demonstration has been unbelievable.
I think the fact that we've kept it lawful and respectful and slightly edgy, but not the wrong side of the law. I think that's helped kept the general public and the media on side. The support from the public and the media is absolutely unbelievable. And if anything, I would say growing. The Labour government have done us a huge favour in that respect, because they've sequentially pissed off pretty much everybody in the entire country. So they've helped us no end. There's no doubt about that.
Whatever this government's done to us as an industry, I believe it's brought everybody together for a reason, and it's made us stronger. And I can only thank them for that. That's the only positive I can take out of this government, is that it's brought people from the uplands to the lowlands, from the dairies to the arable, all these people that work in different sides of our industry together to fight for one cause, which has been, very close to my heart. And I hope we win. I hope we win. The fight's not over, and I think there's a long way to go. But with people like you guys and many others that are willing to put their heads above the parapet, it will make a difference. And we need that. We need, people that will take the lead and drive on and make sure there's a future for the next generation producing food in the United Kingdom. Massive thank you to you both for taking the time to come on here, and congratulations for all the work you're doing. And I think there will be a brighter future if we all pull together like we are now, and, not let this government divide us, because by dividing us, they will conquer. And I think by sticking together, there is a great, great opportunity for us to win this battle, because there will be more, 100%. I agree with you, Kathleen. There'll be more coming through the back door, and there'll be more, problems for us. But if there's any industry that can pull up its socks and roll up its sleeves and get the job done, it's the agricultural industry, because we are special people. We never, ever give in. So thank you very much for your time, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I hope you enjoyed this first podcast. If you have done, like and share it, and you might get a few more of these crazy podcasts again. It's all good. It's about the industry, and it's about sharing. And you know what? I ain't afraid to start to rattle some cages. Watch this space.